in it or not, but I'm going to pretend that there is. It was in 2018, the Fortinet Championship in the playoff we mentioned earlier with Snedeker and Ryan Moore. He's sputtered a little bit since then, Jane.
Yes, he really has struggled, and we'll document that more as the day goes on, but that's off to a good start. Needs to settle. Watch out, Crows. Oh, that'll be just fine. Good angle to that left-hand pin.
So from the 10th tee up to the green, this was Rahm for birdie.
Yeah, he thought it was going to go right, but it just stayed exactly where he putted it. Where he aimed it, I should say.
This is the 7:55 starting time.
Above the hole, Si Woo. This will be dicey. Drills it though.
Well, you can't birdie every hole.
11th hole, Dennis, today, that hole location back left.
Way back left, and this is, I think, the hardest hole location on the golf course. The water is not in play. The penalty area, as they like to say, short of the green, but it's a very small target, just a couple of car hoods up there, and they say they can stretch this out to 182, but I don't know where that tee box is to have it play that long. But that's a smart play, right down underneath, up underneath the hole. Trying to get it up on top is tough, and the rough's not that long, so you can challenge it, but you kind of take 2 out of play if you hit it over the green and just bring 4 into play.
Oh, I think that's a good point. Dennis, early on, you're just trying to find your feet a little bit. Don't want to make any stupid mistakes. I agree. I'm not sure where you would put that tee box if you wanted it to be 182.
The thing is, Jane, I think that's probably where those folks are sitting up there in that little bar area they've created. There might be a tee box back there, but if you were going to play that far back, you'd be coming out of a tunnel, and it's kind of cool. What I feel of the breeze, there's a little touch of breeze coming out of the right as Max plays, and that's safely out to the right also. It's not a great shot, but that's a smart play. Si Woo hit it left, and we're going to have to look at the lie. I'm not sure if it got into the bunker or not, but that'll be total hands full trying to get that ball up and down if that's not a perfect lie in the sand.
10th, see if we can listen in. Cameron Champ will be first to play.
Where are you looking? Like the left hand is going up the middle. Yeah, perfect. Okay, perfect.
Jane, I don't know if you noticed, but that driving iron that Cameron hit off of the tee had ball speed of 166. That's not too far off from tour average with driver.
Yes, he is able to generate such club head speed. Can be a little bit erratic with the driver, but when he is on, and when the putter is on, can match his ball striking ability. Well, I think the sky's the limit for this young man, and just what a wonderful philanthropic heart he has at an early age, which is admirable.
Yeah, something to be said for when you're playing for more than yourself.
Exactly. Well, Phil and Amy Mickelson have their own foundation. They do a lot of charitable work, especially in the STEM field. Just a sand wedge for Phil. Can take dead aim from the fairway. Bit of a tug for the left hand.
How about this for Si Woo?
That lie was not the best. There was a little leaf behind it, and that big struggle there for him more than anything to the ball, and he judged it, I think, pretty well to get it up. He was fortunate that it was just enough on the upslope where he could elevate it.
Well, Kevin Tway off to a good start.
Looks like Dennis Hill be next to play, and he's got a lot to navigate.
Yeah, it's one of those things. He's coming out of a low spot. This is not really too tough more than anything else. You're going to be able to read this putt, I think. It should move a little bit right to left. He's looking like it's going to swing a little more than I thought where he was standing there. But it's one that it's all about speed. And it's weird, guys, and I don't know really how to put this into words, but as a player, I almost feel like the air's getting heavier and it's a little cooler, and we're almost getting a little more moisture in the air. So for when these guys were putting on the putting green, I think there's actually been an accumulation of dew, which is kind of strange. You'd think as it warms up, it'd get a little better, but it just isn't right now. It's pretty chilly. So this putt, I would be surprised if it got to the hole, just because I think you're kind of afraid on the back side of this hole as it comes up over the rise. It should move a little right to left up by the hole pretty straight early.
Well, that's a pretty good judgment. Exactly.
Now, Rom.
Because he missed that low, so I might have to hit this a little more. There's always something you can learn from another putt. And there isn't much in it. It's when you got to hit it. This is a slow putt.
It's ready for this downhill 30-footer.
How about that par from Si Woo?
That's good stuff. Excellent bunker shot. That was not
Inside the top 140 now. But if these clubs, if the putter and the wedges cooperate, he'll have something to say about who wins this thing.
Yes, he's certainly got a lot of room for improvement with the putter. And that's one thing that the ShotLink stats will illuminate, the weaknesses in your game.
They'd have a lot of spotlights out for mine.
Oh, well, don't even speak about our individual games. Mine right now is non-existent, but Cameron, I mean, terrific. You know, tee to green, off the tee stuff is wonderful, but you're right, the short game is scrambling. So small greens, tucked hole locations, and if you do miss greens, you've got to be able to get up and down. Just didn't move to the left like he thought.
So no joy here at the 10th, the first of the day for Mickelson and Tway and Champ. This is Si Woo Kim, his third hole today, the 12th. And
It's hard not to watch that swing net and think about what great balance he has, isn't it?
it's amazing that he doesn't contend a little bit more often. And that the voice, of course, of longtime PGA Tour veteran Jay Delsing. Cameron Champ, this whole location at 11 is mean.
Ned, I really believe the only balls you're going to see on this top shelf are players that have the perfect yardage. Otherwise, that ball's going to be down below, and they're going to be trying to hole something.
Rahm at the 12th.
What I love about what we have in our featured groups today is we've got the quiet, I call it quiet power of Cameron Champ, and we have got this raw.
Can Phil hit a little feathery fade into this back hole location?
We're going to see that a lot today, Ned. That is just a sucker pin. If you don't have the perfect number.
Homna, he looks like Jay's lined up for a little fade, doesn't it?
Just looks like it needs to start just on that right edge of that bunker and just fall off the table to the right.
got him. Let's see how Kevin Tway handles the 11th.
Oh. No. No.
Depends on the lie. We saw Siwoo Kim, his second shot at the 12th.
Dead center of the fairway. It's got to be a green light.
Pay attention.
Wait a second.
How good was that from Siwoo?
He-
All right, how do you do this?
Well, you're going to see, look at the face of his wedge, wide open. And folks, the bounce of the wedge gets used here. He's going to hit right behind the ball and try to pop it straight up in the air. We saw Siwoo Kim in that same position, and that is not bad from there.
Rahm next. You can see Max Homa marked his ball.
To see that too often on the PGA Tour, do you, Ned? John Rahm's just so solid. I was shocked to see him miss the putt on the first hole. I almost thought it was a gimme birdie out of the chute.
The hill, Mickelson.
We get a great look at this ridge that's coming across there. And off early, and they're still contending with that.
Now this man makes a lot of birdies, over 4 of them per round, so you'd expect this to get close. How about in?
He hopped his ball right over Siwoo Kim's ball.
Cameron Champ.
So here's the thing that you watch for this guy. You noticed on the first hole, he had about a 20-some-odd foot putt that he left a good solid 18 inches short. And here's this putt, he kind of gunned it almost 4.5 feet by. There it lies the rub for his game. You know, he struggles with that putter at times. Early in the round, trying to get his feet underneath him, as Jane said, and get a sense for how fast are these greens.
Well, Cameron Champ and Sean Foley have been student and coach now for a number of years, and that's something that they're just chipping away at, and that's what Cameron talked about in his goal setting, is just little bits of improvement. This would be some kind of par save.
You get a good look at the line on that ball. Boy, was that hit beautifully, just outside the right edge for Kevin Tway. Played a lot of golf with his father. That family knows how to hole some putts, Ned. Off this thing for him, get some firepower going this morning, because Max Homa's in there close for birdie as well. You know what's interesting to me, Ned? His putting stroke almost matches the rhythm of his golf swing. It's kind of a short, almost a poppy little stroke. And I feel like there are times where it's very, not much was mentioned about him changing from TaylorMade to Callaway and running all the way up to world #1. I mean, hats off. Not easy making that wholesale change.
Boy, Mac.
Well, that's a pretty good equation on how to make birdie for Homa. You just follow John Rahm off the tee. Didn't put anything closer than 4.
Ned, I was just thinking about that because we were kids and we're like, that's illegal. Well, it's never really illegal if the USGA can do it, right? And so, very challenging today.
400 yards. This driver for Champ.
Look at the speed.
Oh, and that found what? Siwoo?
Yep.
Well, safe to say we're not going to be able to tell where his ball goes by his facial expressions. He hit it 1 inch from the hole on 12 and didn't even flinch. And that's right down the middle there on 13 for Siwoo.
Phil, new shaft in the driver, perhaps?
You know something, Ned, we'd be remiss to not talk about the condition that Phil has got himself in. 51 years old, just off a major championship, and he's never been in better shape. He is working hard.
A little fresh metal here for Homa.
What a great look at this. I love this side view so you get a sense for what the players are kind of going after here.
He's picked up some serious yardage as Homa over the past couple of seasons. The work that he and Mark Blackburn have done on his swing has really paid off.
Golf swing looks really in control to me, Ned. And speaking of some power as well, Kevin Tway's got a lot of speed. Going with just an iron here at the 400-yard 12th.
How disconcerting is that swing and that shot if you're Kevin Tway?
It just a good shot at the powerful legs of John Rahm. Such a vital part of this golf swing, Ned. And that's what I felt like I saw a tiny bit leak into that putt, where it's just a little quick in that transition area, Ned. He swings a lot on the downswing like his fellow countryman Sergio Garcia. That's a shot that's going way up in the air, Ned. You can see him try to lay back and hit it super high. And you know what? I'm sure he's delighted to have it on the green from that position. Low.
Meanwhile, Homa.
One thing I love about watching Max Homa swing, it never looks like he overswings or it gets away from him. He's in such control and great balance.
See if we can't listen in.
Goes low, it's either 40 yards short or over the green. There's no way to hit it out. I mean, if it's over the green and right of the pin, it's absolutely fine. Chip it back to that. Or you can hit up, 56 or something. Lob way, you just hit it full and hit it back out in the fairway and have a 45, 50 meter.
Just to help, because it looks like the crowd is going to come on this side.
Front's 130.
Because I was up there, I see they would do like this.
Well, you heard him say the long of the green is actually okay. Doesn't look okay.
It looks off. I mean, typically speaking, Ned, you hit it over the green on the PGA Tour, and you're talking bogey for sure, and maybe double. But there runs his caddy, pulling out some of the gallery stakes, so he's clearly going low. And you heard part of the discussion, excuse me, but he talked about maybe just taking the 60, going up high, leaving it 40 yards short of the green, and just pitching it up, and getting it up and in from there.
I don't think in his way, but that electrical box is integral part of the golf course, and you don't get relief from it unless your swing is impeded or your stance.
What's to notice here, folks, is that the rough is low, so this ball should not get caught up in the rough.
Sweet.
Sit.
Just as they discussed, over is not bad. I don't know about you.
Here's Phil.
He has broken a lot of hearts with those wedges over the years. He is a magician with those clubs.
Third shot for Cameron.
And see, that's a big miss. 5 or 6 steps short of that flag, and he carried it all the way to that hole location.
How about Siwoo fading one into this left-hand hole location?
He hit every green except for the par 3.
Well, it's for par, but this certainly looks makeable. That was one part of his game that was really glaring. At one point during the season.
Well, boy, wouldn't you love to have that as a student? I mean, that is a whiteboard that you could really, really work with. Such a talented guy. We got to talk about his walk with us, Cameron Champ Foundation Pro-Am that they had on Monday as well.
Kevin Tway lags that.
Either a missed part of the mode cut or the transitional piece. But if anybody in the field can handle it, we'll take Rahm. I think they know what they're.
Well, this is a bogey putt for Champ.
Still just not quite dialed in on that speed. And Ned, what this does to you from an emotional standpoint, it really gives you a challenge because here's a 400-yard hole. This young guy could play this thing with the tree.
Long way out is Homa. But our graphics department showing you he was top 10 from this distance last year. Phil, it looked like put a new grip on this putter, and it looks like he's running it up his forearm. He sure is. Look at that.
That ball started so far left of his line. A good catch by
Putter late in the season, but never really broke it out. Just one or two rounds here and there. Si Woo.
Here's a guy that if I asked you, hey, Ned, how much money do you think this young guy's made? He's 26 years old. How much? And if I said over or under, 15 million, and if you.
The target. It just goes against his DNA. He loves to fire at the holes and try to make a ton of birdies.
When I was playing, Nick Price said there's at least 4 holes on the course that I don't even consider the pin. And I thought like see, we're playing on the peak 25 or 30 feet from the hole and then hold that putt for birdie anyway. Didn't work that way for me then.
Well, he was 25 or 30 feet on the green.
Oh, that's right.
He was a world #1, much like this man, with a quick rhythm and tempo.
And sometimes they pull it off and sometimes they don't. This doesn't look like Phil with a driver here to me. Yeah.
He's working that 2-driver system.
That 2 wood or the one with just a little more loft. It's teed down a little bit. And you gotta, wow, he skirted every inch of that bunker, but he's in beautiful position now, wherever they'd hit it.
See if Tway can recover from the snap hook.
And I mean, what's the difference there, Ned, between what he's looking down the right, so let's expect this ball to be some sort of draw shot. Boy, Ned, I had so many opportunities to start the year just because I played enough. And I battled, and other times it would work, and Cameron looks like he's struggling a little bit.
Watch out here on 14. We'll have to check our crew there. They were.
Somebody needs a Band-Aid, I think. Great look at that bunker. 272 yards off the tee, that bunker on the right. Max is kind of playing follow the leader out there, it looks like.
Work with.
John went from 3 wood, 3 metal to 5. Got the teeing ground up a little bit today. 245 to that right bunker. You can see out there. You know, and John Rahm does a wonderful job of dispelling the myth now that you have to have your swing reach parallel to hit it a long way.
Welcome back to California and the North Course at Silverado Resort and Spa. This is the second shot at the 13th hole for Cameron Champ.
Oh, what a difficult shot with the ball below your feet. Oh,
Shot,
man,
bud.
just making solid contact there is a real accomplishment. Good shot by Cameron Champ.
Kevin Tway just snuck in the edge of the bunker here.
Go right. Go a little right.
You saw he may have had lip issues there because he was, the edge of the bunker may have been in the way because he hoisted that way up in the air.
Mickelson from the fairway.
That's a safe play.
Hole location again is way over to the right.
Now, John Rahm loves to move his ball from left to right. This is a real green light pin for him.
You heard him say when it probably just appeared on the other side of the ridge, he said, seriously? Siwoo?
And this was that angle you were mentioning. You know, he's going to try to take this ball just to the right side of the tower there and get it to work to the right, and the ball might have come out of the right a little bit and caught that front bunker. Will not be an easy bunker shot from there.
I was thinking 15. You need at least 7 jump sandwich. I thought so. I like this one. What's your lane number? John's, I think 15 is lane number. Love it.
Not a lot of rough, Jay, but just enough to make a difference.
No, absolutely. You can see it's covering about half that ball, so there's still some indecision. Some guesswork in there.
Nice. Good shot.
And you see that's what that rough does also, you know, net it'll take that spin off of it for these players. Here's a good look at Kevin Tway just in front of this 13th green. See if he can get this ball up with a little spin on it, land about halfway to the hole. Didn't sound like it had any sort of spin net. It almost sounded a little clunky down at the bottom. Now, on those other 3 categories, it's not going to be very meaningful. That was a beautiful putt that just didn't go in for Cameron. I don't know if he misread it or if it just didn't go in, but you could see the ball striped pretty well. With the way the PGA Tour is, if you're streaky enough, your good weeks have what Cameron Champ has, you can still.
Siwoo is a good example of that. As we check in with Mickelson. He is now 530 under par in the state of California on the PGA Tour.
Phil is the tournament ambassador here for Fortinet. And Fortinet also partnered with Cameron Champ, as we talked about that Walk With Us Cameron Champ Foundation Pro-Am. So just a great of this community.
Rahm up the hill. This should just work right to left. Probably pretty inviting looking.
So John's had a little bit of everything. He's missed a couple of really good looks at birdie. He's got one a ball up and down, and You know, Ned, this was kind of, for me, this was the helped establish the rhythm of the round. He's hit good shots, he's hit bad shots, he's staying at even par, no harm. I like days like that. When I was kind of what's under the tree, this, that, and the other, it was unsettling.
And that one, not enough gasoline in the tank for Tway. He's been fighting, made that long putt back on 11 for par. Looks like Homa working that outside left here, Jay.
And most of these players are good. Plenty of them use the line on the ball, so it gives you a really good sense for what they're thinking and what they're after. Just a little more speed for Max, and he had another birdie. The one thing that does do know, Ned, for the players, and I want the folks to know, if you're going to start lining your ball up for your putts, it pretty much chooses the speed for you as well. So don't think you can aim it out at the right edge and hit at any speed. It's got to be matched up, right?
Nothing like watching my dad. He'll say right edge, and he'll put the ball down, and I'm thinking, that's not even pointed anywhere on the green. What are we doing here? If you're going to use it, make sure you're doing it correctly, because it's actually going to hurt you if you line it up like my dad. He's like, I don't know why I'm not putting 5-footers well. That's because you're not even aimed anywhere close to where you think you are.
Well, and if you use that line to kind of aim your putter, then you've got the whole thing headed south, don't you?
Oh, that one just spins out. Not quite enough break for Siwoo. He'll be disappointed with that. He was top 10 last season around the greens in terms of strokes gained, so hit a good bunker shot.
Being out of position, Ned, off the tee.
31 consecutive years, Jay. 31 consecutive years this man has had a top 10 on the PGA Tour.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is just crazy. That is, I mean.
Only Sam Snead and Ray Floyd